What's happening, guys? Welcome back. Chris here again. Today I'm running through an engagement shoot session that I had yesterday. We're just going to go through and edit the photos together. It was Jared and Taylor's engagement. We went out to the beach, but the light was really weird. It was super cold, real cloudy, not any kind of sunset or anything. So I edited them a little bit differently than I usually would, using one of my presets that I hardly ever use unless it's in situations like this. So let's head over to the computer and show you guys how we do it. So here we go, guys. This is Jared and Taylor's engagement shoot. We went out to the beach, and like I was saying, the light was just a little bit odd and just really cool, and it was nice and soft, but you can't really edit it like I would normally because just the way the light was and the colors and things like that. You can ignore most of the stuff I've been trying out, editing the presets and just changing them up a little bit, but I'm going to be using the muted split preset for this one, which I hardly ever use. When I get there, I usually get a few environmental shots, just kind of, I don't know, showing where we are and stuff like that. So I'm just going to update this preset with the clarity on -10. It was on -25, and that works in most situations for this one. It's counteracted by contrast and stuff, so a lot of people will be saying it's too soft, but you just have to use it and see for yourself. Again, another environmental shot there. And yeah, these guys wanted to take the dog for a walk. And then later on we chucked Sarge in the truck and got some photos down on the beach, which came out really nice as well. So I got a couple of different shots here of Jared. I was digging his beard, looks dope. And then I got the same one, so we'll just copy that. But with Taylor looking straight ahead so you can see her face a little bit more. We'll go back and fix the CA later, I think. So now that I've edited this one, I know the white balance is going to be pretty similar. I've obviously underexposed quite a lot to recover these highlights. So I'm just going to go through and copy these onto the next ones. And so on. So as you can see here, it looks really dark in the foreground, but I've done that so we can recover all these highlights that are going on in the background. All the settings are up here as well while I'm going through them, if you want to see those. So that's pretty much it. It's really just adjusting the exposure, the highlights and the shadows, and getting the temperature right. Go a little bit brighter with the plus and minus there. Copy those and paste them onto the next one. This kind of area is quite hard to get the white balance right, I was finding. But if I was using one of the other presets like the universal one, it still looks fine, but I don't know, I was just really liking the other preset. Gives it a little more of a softer look. Fix that CA. We'll just go through and quickly edit these. I think the beach ones are what you really want to see. This spot, I've been here many times, and this spot has obviously been cut down. So there was like a real open spot. I just decided to put them in there. I do like the composition, but I think I should have set them up a little bit differently. It looks a little bit detached in my view, but I still think it's a good photo. But if I was to do it differently again, I probably would have had them Taylor's back to Jared and just have them cuddling a little bit closer. But you know, dog was running around like crazy. He was so excited. So this one, because it's quite dark down here, I'm going to use the radial tool. Like that. You see before and after. Quite often, if I'm struggling with white balance, I'll just sort of slide it around until I feel like it's about right and then stop. And if it's where it was before, pretty much, then I know I'm on the right track, you know. If you're really struggling and it's been quite a while, it's often really handy just to take a break and step away for a little bit. And the other one is I just press full screen, and without all the other stuff in the background, you can kind of see how it's looking. So I'm just going to copy that and put it over to the next one. So it's a lot of copying pasting as well in this kind of situation, like with the lights not changing much. Oops. And you want to keep an eye on the oranges and make sure, you know, skin isn't going super orange, otherwise you can bring it down a little bit here. Looks good. Copy those. It's probably getting a little bit warm now. You can see there if I reset that again, and we just paste that on there from the previous photo, it's pretty much good to go. Just have to straighten it a little bit, maybe a little bit warmer, about there. And now we can copy those. Or the other thing you can do, see I have three here which are the same, but we got one with Sarge in between them. So you can just click on that one, highlight them all, and then Command Shift S and synchronize them. And it's pretty much done. So moving on, we were trying to get him to sit up on these seats, but he was way too excited. He'd never been here before. So again, there's 4 of them, so I'll just sync those. And I'm just using the plus and minus to adjust exposure when I'm going through them. And then we just carried on. If you guys have been following along my channel for a while, you've probably seen this location before. It's a really, really popular spot It's pretty rare that I'll go this crushed with the highlights and the shadows, but yeah, I don't know, this day was just a weird day to shoot in. I really love the end result, but I was consciously thinking about how I was going to edit these when I was shooting. I'm just going to remove that 50 sign there too, even though this Lightroom tool sucks. That worked that time. Oh, that's cool. Copy and paste. This one's, I don't know if this is going to work being that close to her here. See, why would Lightroom, it's so dumb. I'll fix this one up in Photoshop later so we don't have to skip to it, but you get the idea. A couple of shots there of them just walking along. So a lot of copy and pasting just to kind of speed the process up. You're not adjusting the same thing every single time. It also keeps things a little bit more consistent as well. Couldn't keep him out of the water at all though. Copy these for the white balance. See if Lightroom can handle this. I think this one I just missed focus. It's pretty close though. Come on, Lightroom. This is another one where I'd use the circular tool, so I'd get everything else right, and then just brighten them up. But it has to be subtle enough that you can't really see it. Same with this one. If you make an adjustment, you can move it around and see the kind of area that it's adjusting, so it's not super obvious. Also keeping an eye on the navigator here. For some reason it shows your adjustments more when it's smaller like that. This one I might just crop out that and then get rid of this one. I think I'm going to go through and fix these in Photoshop later because I'm really not liking how the correction's looking, but this is really just to edit the colors and show you guys how I do that. Same again. It's got to be a big enough area that it's not, you know, you don't want to just put a small circle around them because it's going to be really obvious. It's obviously not going to work. That'll do for now. You can't actually really tell when you're zoomed out. We dried Sarge off and jumped in their ute and went down to the beach. So this is when we got down to the beach and the light got real dark and moody. The sun just went behind the clouds. This one I'm going to use the radial, no not radial, whatever this masking is, and just bring it down. But then if you bring the shadows back up, you see on the mountains there, it just brings that up, and then you can drop the highlights, turn it on and off. You can see the difference. It's just subtle, but it looks good, you know. Got some shots with the surfer in the background, just to kind of tell the story a little bit. Again, you can see it's bringing up the shadows on his face again, but just lowering the highlights. Water was pretty cold. If you were to do this on any other day, bring the highlights right down and the shadows right up, it would just look terrible. But because it's so soft, you can do it and it really brings out all the tones in the skin and stuff. Here again, I'm just going to select all of these, synchronize them, and we should be able to just go through and they'll all be right. I really love these photos. Again, shooting through people, you know, like I'm wide open at 1.4 and just focusing on the background to see kind of where we're going. The subjects don't always have to be exactly in focus, you know. Again, when I'm cycling through these down the bottom here, I can see up to here, they're all pretty much the same exposure. So let's just sync those as well. And you can see how much time this is going to save. Like, so we just have to make sure and go through them, make sure the white balance is all right and everything. So they wanted to pop the champagne bottle, but I don't know, it wasn't very fizzy and it didn't work that well. And we got champagne all over the lens. Lucky the cameras are weather sealed. Don't know about wine, but seemed to be alright. This is all just kind of organically happening, you know, like I'll tell them to go into the water where, you know, it's just nice and glossy on the bottom, and pop the champagne and just celebrate. These shots I was just using my iPhone, kind of holding it in front of the lens. I've done a video on this kind of stuff before if you want to check that out. Let's center them up. Get rid of that CA on his hat. I just really love the tones in these photos, before and after. Just showing the story of what's going on. You know, they're trying to keep their clothes out of the water a little bit. Super fun people. I'm shooting their wedding down in the South Island in Queenstown in a few months. So I'm really looking forward to that. I don't like how it's on the edge of the frame there. What the hell, Lightroom? Just got a shot of them running back to the water. And we'll use that filter again. It's really just about having fun, eh? Not being too serious, having a good time, making them laugh. feel like that one was a little bit too orange. Yeah, that's better. See, these shots, because of the way they're facing and where the sun is, you can bring the shadows down a little bit more and bring the highlights back up. But again, the skin, keeping an eye on that orange. So I'm just going to sync all these. This one I was trying to get a ring shot, but I couldn't stop moving around, so kind of screwed it up a little bit, but it's alright. It's not the end of the world. Make it a 16:9 crop there maybe. I liked his watch as well, and just a photo of them kind of like cuddling each other is quite nice. I like those types of images. These ones, if you follow me along on Instagram, you would have seen these photos I put up last night. This one I'm going to use the filter, the radial filter, but you have to be super careful, like bring it right out. Just move it around. I feel like that's about right. Got to make sure those horizons are straight. I don't know why I took this one, I just kind of like the water. And then yeah, we just made our way back to the car. So you can see again, all these are kind of the same. So we can pretty much tell that, you know, we're going to be able to sync them up. Just minor exposure adjustments. Copy it from this one. Just clone those people out. Usually only just bothers me if there's people like, oops, if there's people too close to the subjects. And last one. Done. I don't know how long that was. Let's have a look at the video timeline and see. But now I'll just go into gallery view and go right back up to the top and just go through with the thumbnails and make sure there's nothing kind of standing out that I'm not happy with in terms of white balance and anything like that. Like I said, guys, like if you've been following along my channel for a while, you'll know this isn't generally how I edit stuff, but you have to edit to the situation. And when you're shooting also, just, you know, I'm always thinking about how I'm going to edit stuff while I'm shooting. Just makes it a little bit easier. But so I'm going to go through and just correct some of those spot removals in Photoshop, and then we'll export these. I'll probably convert a few to black and white also, and do that. But my export settings, I'll just select all of them, and then I'll name them to what I want in order: 75% quality and resize to 6,000 pixels on the long edge. Obviously I'm shooting on the A7R3, so it's going to depend on your camera, but 6,000 pixels is about 24 megapixels on the long edge, which is totally fine in my book. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.